can you be disciplined, and how can you get motivated in order to take actions in alignment to transform your life and create in your business life or health? How can you this year, how can you let discipline be really the thing that carry you? Because here's the thing, it's not enough to desire change. It's not enough to desire to transform your life. This is both applies in both inner work and outer work, be it transformation, body transformation, or inner transformation. You really need a discipline to keep doing the work, because work needs action, right? Work needs action. And if you're not disciplined, you are not going to be able to be consistent. And if you're not consistent, you are not going to actually be able to achieve your long-term goals and desire. So here are some of the signs that you are not disciplined, right? And the very first thing is that you are lazy. So being lazy is simply the state of not taking action. So, and this laziness shows up in different ways. It shows up in your inability to take action, or in your ability to procrastinate tasks. So you know you need to hit the gym. You know you need to do that thing. You know you need to read that book. But then there's a part of you that is just like, okay, no, not now. So when you're procrastinating, most of the times it is a form of laziness, though it's not always as a result of laziness, right? But it's a form of laziness. So look at your life. At what way are you just saying, okay, just one more, let me just stay more, let me just do this more, and you are staying comfortable, right? Which leads to the second sign. Now, the second sign is that you are addicted to being comfortable. Now, what happens to your brain is when you are in your comfort zone is that serotonin is released, secreted, right? Which is the comfort hormones and the feel-good hormone. And when this feel-good hormone is secreted, and most of the time dopamine as well, because you are comfortable, you can get addicted to that, right? You can get addicted to that dopamine, and you can get addicted to those feel-good hormones because, oh, you feel so good, and then you just want to stay there. But in the long run, what happens is that if you keep staying there and not taking action and not being disciplined and just being scattered all over, not doing the things you say you would do, like just being scattered, you're going to start feeling unhappy and you're going to start feeling unfulfilled. Why? Because the brain, inside the brain, there's a balance that needs to happen. There's a balance that needs to happen between pleasure and pain, right? So pleasure, when you experience pleasure, when you are in this dopamine phase, when you are in this serotonin phase where you're feeling good, you're just relaxing, you're lazy, you're sleeping, you're scrolling through social media, watching all the videos, you're not doing anything, you are in the feel-good phase. But when you are in the feel-good phase, so there's almost like a balance in your brain where there's need to be pleasure and pain for you to feel happy. If you're too much in pleasure, what is going to happen is that you're going to start feeling so unhappy. So the way you want to understand is that the brain has a parasympathetic system of the brain, and there's sympathetic. So sympathetic is the part that is responsible for action and for doing, right? For learning action and all of that. While the parasympathetic is the one that is responsible for rest, relax, reset. So when your brain, and in order for you to be a functional and productive human being, these two parts of the brain need to work hand in hand. When you're too much in the sympathetic nervous system, like when that part of the brain is working too much, you are going to work, and then you are going to either burn out, get adrenal fatigue, which we are going to also talk about, or when you are in the parasympathetic system, the feel good things, drinking alcohol, all of that, and you're overly in that, driven by that, there's an imbalance, right? And this is where the imbalance happens. And when this imbalance happens, there needs to be action, which is going to cause pain, that needs to happen in order for the balance to happen for your brain to function normally. So the reason why I'm explaining this to you is because most of the time, the lack of discipline that you are having is not because you don't have a strong willpower. It's probably because there's one part of your brain that you are feeding and that you're nourishing and that that is working more, and the other part of your brain is sleeping. And when it is sleeping, you are not going to be motivated. When the parasympathetic part of your nervous system is functioning so much, you are not going to take action. You are not going to take action. So then the next thing that you realize is that you maybe you become low, you have low self-confidence as a result of this, right? Because now you want to do things. You say, oh, I'm going to do this, but then you don't do. You say, I'm going to read, I'm going to study, I'm going to do this thing that is actually going to benefit me and contribute to my growth, but then you don't do it. And when you don't do it, each time that you break your word, it goes to your brain, to your subconscious mind, as evidence as to why you are not good enough, which leads to the next point, right? So, and this kind of like create and breaks more of your self-discipline. So for example, if you say, oh, I'm going to do this, and you don't do it, you lose self-respect and self-confidence, because you breaking your word to yourself is creating evidence to your brain that, hey, you cannot be disciplined, you don't have a will, you can't do things, you are not motivated. So this means that the more you go down the rabbit hole of staying unmotivated and staying indisciplined, the more you're going to feel unhappy, depressed, stressed. And though you desire to do more, though you desire to change your life, your finances, your health, you really can't do it, because there's just this part of your brain that is like, you are not going to do it. So, and it's playing on your psychology, both in your physical brain and then in your mental health. Now, the next thing is that when you are overly endorsed in over pleasure, right? So again, you're so much in pleasure, is going to create chemical imbalance in your brain. And this lack of discipline, this lack of motivation to take action, to do things, to go and walk in alignment to what you desire, and just maybe just do things that feel relaxing. For example, sitting and watching a video, it's not engaging, it's a pleasure exercise, because you're not engaging in action, you're not engaging in doing. So every time that you are engaging in something that is pleasure exercise, bathing, just talking, that is not requiring you to do some hardship, you are not engaging the parasympathetic nervous system. So over pleasure causes lack of motivation and this indiscipline. So ask yourself, in what way have I been overly in pleasure? In what way have I been giving myself too much pleasure than I deserve? Because here's the thing, as human beings, we are not designed when it comes to evolutionary history. You will realize that we were not designed to have so much pleasure. We are not designed to have pleasure easily. We were designed to go chase, go hunt, and then we have a little bit of pleasure as a reward for the hardship, for the lack of pleasure that we've experienced. But we now live in a world that is like, it's in the flip side, right? And this is where you need to do the work to actually flip, so that the part of your brain that is responsible for you staying motivated can be awake. Because we now live in the world where, okay, I can just scroll and I'm having pleasure. I can like, and I can just sit, and I can just talk to a friend over a phone. I can just order a pizza. I can do anything on my phone, right? So with this, it's like you stay in your comfort zone. You're not doing anything, and you're overly indulging pleasure. And this overindulgement in pleasure literally switch the side of the way that we are designed to function, and our brain knows that we are designed to function, and your brain is literally confused. It's like, you're getting so much pleasure, but I need pain. So the first way that you are going to start getting this pain is that you are going to embrace being out of your comfort zone. So you're going to embrace doing this by engaging more of the sympathetic nervous system of your brain. So this is, you're going to engage in doing things, and more than just doing, right? Because you already know you need to do. It's not about not knowing what you need to do. You already know to do, but it's about building the willpower to actually do, right? And the way that you're going to do this is different. Now, you're going to decide that, first of all, realize that comfort zone is not good for your brain. It's good a little bit of, like, it's good when you are comfortable, and then you're uncomfortable, and then you're comfortable, and then you're uncomfortable, because this creates the balance in your nervous system. But if you're too comfortable, it's danger. So we want to ask, okay, how can I instill discomfort in my life right now? So the way that you're going to do this is, instead of seeing the task that you need to do as, oh, this is hard, oh, I don't have the energy to do it, oh, all of that, you embrace it and see it as an opportunity to engage a part of your brain that needs to be awakened. So this is the thing with the sympathetic nervous system. When you engage it, initially it's going to be hard, right? Initially, when you start like, okay, I want to be disciplined, I'm going to do the things, I'm going to take action, it's going to be hard. But as you do it and as you keep going, it's going to become easier, and you're going to find joy and energy, and you're going to feel this fulfillment, and it's going to be almost like you've come alive from doing that thing, right? Now, the next thing that you're going to do with this again is like really working on your willpower. So when you have overly be unmotivated and indisciplined, there is this belief that you develop that, oh, I can't discipline myself, and I can't even create a structure. I can't say I'm going to do things anymore. So I'm just going to go with the flow, because if I say that I'm not going to do it, it's like, because you have so much evidence in your brain from past actions or inactions, you're like, no, I'm not going to do that because I already know I am not going to do it. So this is where you're going to do some inner work to shift that belief, because the belief that I am not even going to try because I know I don't have what it takes is an illusion, and it's the lie. It's a lie, because the truth is that you have discipline. So the way that we are going to do this, we need to shift this belief by proving it wrong. So the way you're going to prove it wrong, again, is let's bring evidence, because your brain love evidence is like hard. We need, okay, you have evidence that, okay, I'm not disciplined, I'm not good at it. Let's bring evidence. When was the last time you said you were going to do something and you did it? So you're going to take your piece of paper and you're going to journal, right? This like it's like a proof to your brain. You're going to court with your brain. You're going to court with your mind. Like, I have a strong willpower. I have a will, because everybody does have a will, and everybody can have integrity in them. It's just that people just choose not to. So what you're doing is that you're choosing something else, because you through past evidence and action and what your brain has been focusing on, it's been like, oh, you cannot do it, so don't even try. No, you can do it. So we are going to take a piece of paper and say, okay, when was the last time that I actually said I was going to do something and I did it? When was the last time I said no to something I didn't want to? When was the last time I said yes to something? Okay, when was the last time I said no to something I wanted to, and yes to something I didn't want to? It's like, when was the last time, or the few times, that I in my life have been able to stand and have a will? And when you do this, when you have a strong will, it inspires you to be disciplined, and it inspires you to be able to say no when your body, the circumstances say you should say yes, and you say yes when you really don't want to. And this is when you get out of your comfort zone, because you can't really get out of your comfort zone if you don't see the comfort zone as a good thing, and if you don't have a will, and you don't have this tenacity to hold that discomfort, the tenacity to hold the displeasure, the tenacity to hold the consequence of literally not having what you really want to, just because you choose not to. So this means that you are going to literally start exercising your will, right? So whatever you are being procrastinating, you're not be wanting not to do, I want you to now see it as an experience to strengthen your will and to create more evidence to your brain that, hey, I can do this. So first, with this step inner work, is that you're going to write down, when was the last time, like write down your entire life, the times that you have literally had a will, when you really wanted to do something and you said no, when you really did not want to do something and then you did it, and then at the end you like, oh, I'm happy. And then the second thing that you're going to do is that, the third point is this, right? The third point on this is that you are going to literally embrace sacrifice, and delayed gratification. Now, sacrifice goes with delayed gratification, because we live in a world, again, where we have everything at our fingertips, and there's too much pleasure, overstimulation, too much dopamine, and it's just a problem, right? It's just a problem. So because we want to have what we want now, we want to we are so focused on the now that we don't focus on the later. So with embracing sacrifice is understanding that for everything that you have to create and have in this life, any transformation, you need to sacrifice something. You need to let go of something. And in letting go of something, you are letting go of something now in order to have something better later. So if you are choosing to stay disciplined, You are not choosing this to stay disciplined because, oh, now you're choosing to stay disciplined because of later. So you ask yourself the question, if I forgo this, if I don't do this now, if I take this action now, what is the long-term outcome, not the instant gratification? Because here's the thing, the instant gratification is, okay, if I take this action now, I'm going to feel pain. Great. But in the long term, what is that going to create? And the short-term gratification is, oh, if you don't take this action now, you're going to feel good. Great. You're going to lay in that bed, sit on that couch, scrolling, watching. But then in the long term, what is that going to create? So because we live in this, oh, now, and again, it's because of the addiction to dopamine that we have, we kind of like avoid wanting to do things now that is going to benefit us later. So you're going to learn to sacrifice the now, sacrifice the pleasure of now, and push it to the pleasure of later, and do things. Focus on sacrifice. There's something you're going to give up now. It's a law of nature, it's a law of God, it's a divine law that there is nothing that you can receive without giving something. It's an exchange. So you're going to either let go of your comfort now and create and reinvent and transform your life and yourself, your business, and delay the gratification and do it later, or you're going to do it now, and then later, in hindsight, you're going to be like, oh, so unhappy, frustrated, and be like, oh, I wish I did that. So learn to sacrifice. You have to sacrifice. It's a law. You have to give something. So ask yourself right now, what are the things I need to sacrifice? It could be maybe you really want to do that thing, but you're feeling sleepy. Maybe you have to sacrifice sleep in the moment. Maybe you have to sacrifice sleep in the moment so that later you can you can sleep your entire life. But if you have to sleep right now, 24 hours a day, and then later you're going to be broke, you're going to be fat, you're going to be all the things, right? So it's like, what am I giving now? What am I choosing? What is the discomfort I'm choosing to embrace now? And for me, this is the one thing that I really had to accept recently, right? And then, so it's like, stop living in the for the now and start living for later. And it doesn't mean that you go out of balance and you're just in the hard sacrifice. No, there's going to be reward, there's going to be pleasure, but this pleasure should come as a reward of something hard, something uncomfortable. Let me not say hard, but something challenging, you getting out of your comfort zone. If pleasure just comes as easy as scrolling, as easy as nothing, then you are going to obviously you are going to stay exactly where you are, doing exactly what you're doing. Now, the next thing for you that you need to do is that you are going to focus on the process and not the result. So every action that you're taking, for someone like me who likes growth, this has been my biggest motivation. If I am taking that action because I want to see result now, I don't do that thing. I don't get the motivation. I don't get discipline. I don't stay consistent in it. Because the moment and the day that you don't see the result, you're going to quit. And that discipline is gonna die. So instead of me doing things because I want result, I do things because of the person that I'm becoming in doing the thing. So it's almost like, instead of focusing on the outcome, focus on the process. And instead of focusing on, okay, this is what I want to have, you focus on the embodiment. So for example, the principles that I've been embodying is like discipline, and this is discipline in my personal life and learning like willpower, all of these things, right? And getting uncomfortable, and it's really challenging. I mean, like putting myself in situations where I know I'll be so uncomfortable, but you do it not because I want the outcome now. I do it and I'm like, okay, what am I going to get from this process? Who am I becoming? So instead of focusing on, oh, if I take this action now, I'm going to do this. If I just go to the gym and I'm going to lose weight overnight, come on. It's not going to happen. If I eat right once, then I'm going to do it. Or if I just write that post, I'm going to get a client. Or even if I just don't talk to that person, I'm going to do this. Instead of focusing on the now outcome, focus on who you are becoming. Who are you becoming when you take that action? Because this is what is going to create the confidence for you to be like, you know what? I am freaking good at this and I'm transforming my life, and this is going to work because you're doing it for you and for the person you are becoming. And guess what? When you have become the person, there's no way the thing is not going to come. And And it may take time. It doesn't mean it's going to come now. It may take time. And on the surface, you may not see the result. On the surface, people may not see the result. But when you have become the person, when you become an energetic match for your desire, there's no way you're not going to materialize whatever you're desiring to materialize. And each time I changed my life, each time I did something big for myself, each time I remember from going from broke, homeless with my son to literally making 6 figures my first 12 months in business, it was this same principle. And after this last year of going through a lot of like roller and kind of like doing so much and staying unmotivated, which I'm going to do another video, maybe to attach to this one, so that you can really understand how to get motivated. It was still the same thing. You have to be disciplined. You have not just discipline in the sense of, okay, you need to structure yourself, do this, but it's more on who you become. So focus on the process, love the process, enjoy the process more than the outcome. Forget about the result. Forget about, okay, when am I getting the client? When am I making the money? When am I losing the weight? When am I doing this? Because when you do that, you are missing the point. The goal for you to lose weight is not so that you have a tiny body. It's so that you become the person who takes care of themselves. And there's a difference in both. The goal of you making maybe 10K months is not so that you have made money. It's so that you become the woman who can hold and create that amount of money. And there's a difference. So it's about shifting from, oh, how is this action going to give me result now, which is going to gratify me, or instant result, or physical tangible result, to how is this action going to make me become a better version of myself. So when you focus on growth, when you focus on doing the thing and staying disciplined for the sake of growth, so that you allow discipline to be like a catalyst in your growth process or in your transformation journey, you allow this discipline to be the tool that shows you what you need to work on, what you're working on, where you fail, what comes out, and what get triggered, what wounds get triggered, what trauma you need to heal, which transformation you need to focus on. It changes everything, because no longer are you doing it for the sake of, oh, I'm doing it now so that I can do this later, or because I want to get this result. And when you don't get that result, you get frustrated. And when you get frustrated, you quit. We do it because I am doing this because I am the person who does this. Which leads us into the last point. And the last point for you to stay disciplined is that, honestly, it's more than everything, it is you becoming and embracing the identity of being a disciplined person. See, for anything you need to create in your life, you need to become that person who has that thing first. You need to have the identity first. And the identity comes with changing the perception that you have about yourself, which is the belief about self, changing your emotional state about who you are, and then changing your action in alignment to that. So it's like, when you believe that, create new belief, like when you believe that I am this person, I am this woman, I am this man who is disciplined. And again, you create evidence to your brain, because you look back at this moment, and then you also look into the future of who is the version of me who is disciplined. What would they do now? What would the disciplined version of me do? Because that disciplined version of you is in you. Your higher self, your spiritual self, the true you is disciplined. The true you is motivated. The true you is not lazy, sitting in bed, eating candy or chocolate balls and all day. And the true you is disciplined. And if the true you is disciplined, that is who you are. And when you shift your identity by stop identifying with this version of self, that is the indisciplined one, and the identity you've held so tightly to, and you embody the future you, or the real you, the true. It's not even the future you, because it's who you are right now. You embody who you already are as a disciplined person. It changes everything. So here's the thing. You are disciplined. You are motivated. The true you, the spiritual you, like the you, not the spiritual you, the spirit you, which is the real you, is disciplined. It's just that simply, probably you've been letting your emotions and the ego mind to play that. So it's time to let that part of you, that part of self, lead. It's time to let your spirit self lead. It's time to lead from the inside. And it's time to embody that identity. So each time that you are faced with a task, you really don't want to do it, you know you should do, because The problem is not knowing what to do. You know what you need to do. You really don't want to do this. And you're like, I don't want to do this. I don't feel like doing this. Okay, what is the discipline you're going to do in that month? The discipline you is going to be like, oh, yeah, I don't feel like it. But the fact that I don't feel like it actually means that I should do it because it's uncomfortable and I'm engaging a part of my brain that is actually going to be for my good. So it's the fact that it's not comfortable doesn't mean danger. And if you truly believe that you are disciplined, now this is not I'm not trying to positive talk you. I'm trying to like the real is not this body, it's not even the brain in the mind. The real is a spirit, and that spirit is disciplined. It's very disciplined. It has a will, like very strong will, firm. It can take action, and it's very motivated. It's never depressed. It's never lazy. It's never playing around. It's just disciplined. And because it is disciplined, guess what? It takes action. Yeah, maybe not in this realm of life that you can see with your 3D eyes, but in higher dimensions, it does. So embodying the true identity each time that you're like, oh, I don't want to wake up. And the alarm rings and like, off. Remember, what would the disciplined version of me do? So you can create an identity for yourself. You can create a new character for yourself. And you say the discipline is, or it can be, if your name is my name, Sonita, you can say Sonita D. It's in your mind and you're like, oh, what would Sonita D do? What would this version of me do? Because that version of you is in you right now. It's who you are. And you have always been, you just forgot. And you forgot. So you wake up and remember. And then you act in alignment with that. And also, because it is uncomfortable, because it's challenging, doesn't mean it's not aligned. Because it's challenging doesn't mean it's you shouldn't do it. Doesn't mean it's not good. Doesn't mean it doesn't always have to be easy. Like that is life. Life is in flip side. Hard, easy. That is why everything, there's duality, feminine, masculine, light, darkness. Everything is in duality. Everything has a flip side. And if you can't hold the duality of both, you're going to stay stuck, complaining, claiming to be a victim, when in fact you are the creator of your reality, you're the designer of your life, and you are the one materializing all the things that you are seeing in your life right now. So it's time to get disciplined, decide to take action, and embrace it all, and sit down and do the journal, do the inner work, and see the things that are not longer in alignment, and let go of those. And yes, you can click to watch this one or the next video that is linked in the comment and subscribe